I'm sick of politicians. I go up on Twitter and I see them saying the same crap. Um, the Democrats all say the exact same thing. 14 million people are being kicked off of Medicaid and food stamps. That was last week. Now this week it's 17 million, but they don't tell you the whole story. They don't tell you that these are able-bodied people that can be working. Like 1.4 million illegals. They make it sound like they're kicking everybody off. That's what they make it sound like. My thing with the whole welfare thing, before I get to Nancy Mace, is I think that people need to be weaned off of welfare. I've said it before on this channel. I think that welfare should be treated for able-bodied people who come onto hard times as a form of unemployment. It's something that you're on for a little while, get your act together. You know, you can be on it for a year and you collect the benefits. If you're working a regular job, your benefits don't go away, so you can actually save money. You know, like the problem with welfare and the why it's a trap is it is extremely hard to get off of. It's people get used to the lifestyle of being on welfare, and then once they get a job, their benefits start going down because their wages go up. So like at some point, some people make more money being on benefits than they do actually working a job. And I have a problem with these corporations who don't pay people enough to be able to have health insurance and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't have health insurance. I don't get paid enough to afford it, and I make too much to go on welfare insurance and health insurance. So I'm kind of like stuck, right? And I think that there is a lot of Americans in my position, or they're thinking about doing what I'm doing, basically going without it for a little while. Because it is pretty much, it feels like it's useless, honestly. Like I have a deductible. I have to meet the deductible, and if I don't meet that, they don't pay for nothing. Like it's just like, and if you're somebody that doesn't go to the doctor, you know you're gonna want the high deductible because you don't go to the doctor. So I just think the whole thing is ludicrous. And to see how like disingenuous these people on the left are, and they say the exact same thing. Like it's the same tweet. I don't even really need to click on the videos. Like to be honest, if I want to know the opinions of a leftist, which I really don't need to follow an influencer to know their opinions. Pretty much anything anti-American, anti-Trump, anything that's for socialism and bigger government, open borders at the same time, enslaving Americans, enslaving the working class, basically. That's their position. But they fight for the working class, they say. I don't really need to follow any influencers to know what they think, to know what they believe. I already know it because they all believe the same thing. Like they don't have any type of independent thoughts. The people on the left. They're pretty much mindless drones. And then you can go on the other side with the right, with MAGA, when you got the cat turds and all that, and the Trump can do nothing wrong cult. You know, there's cult on both sides, okay? Me, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I look at Republicans as they seem more logically thinking right now, so I tend to gravitate towards them. But, you know, I'm just like, I'm tired of my news feed being blown up by Democrats, and I don't even follow these people. Some of these people I don't even follow. I don't even like. I've never commented, never even heard of them. I never commented on their stuff, and they just show up on my news feed. And it's just annoying because they just say the same thing. Like, they say the exact same thing. What propaganda is basically when it's just repeating the same keywords. It's almost like these people are just reading a script. Like, there's a script that's been dropped down from like whoever is running these globalists, whoever they sold out to, that they get an email and they say this is what we have to push. Just they basically copy and paste that and put it out there for everybody else, because they say that there's no like differential of like the wording. It's like basically the same wording for all of it. It's the same keywords. It's not like 14 million. It's not like it's 15. You know, there's no in between. They go like specific numbers, and it's not like deviating from it at all. Like when I say something, when I put out some type of statistic, you know, I put it out there first, like it's around this, you know, but they make it so it's like exactly, and it's all the same thing. And that's how I know it's propaganda. And maybe they're right. Maybe that, you know, maybe some of the stuff they're saying is completely correct. But I can't trust them at this point. That's the problem. The mainstream media, the legacy media, they report half truths. You know what I mean? Like, they don't tell you the whole story, and that's the problem. Like, I'm trying to, as a regular person, I guess I'm like a half regular person. I'm a half-ass regular person, half-ass content creator. Like when I say I'm a content creator, I create content, but it doesn't mean it gets any traction. So I'm not a popular content creator, but I'm somewhere like half-ass. Like, I'm not all the way in either way. I'm like in both sides. I'm a hybrid, basically. And I'm trying to figure out like what the hell is going on. And then I see people like Nancy Mace, who just posted last night. And I'm seeing it real time because I'm at work, you know, when I'm not, like, work was kind of slow, so I'm on my phone. And I'm seeing this real time where she's like driving some luxury van, having her little assistant film her in her pajamas on her way back to the Capitol because, like, they have to go back and vote now. There's no flights or something like that. So she's doing this to try to, like, I don't know, like, to show that she's hardworking, or I don't know the whole point of documenting her whole trip. It was cringe, okay, and I'm tired of them trying to be social media influencers. They get on here, they try to put on their little skit. You know, I see like Swaldwell put on his little, you're not an actor, dude. You're obviously reading lines. It doesn't sound authentic at all. It sounds like you're trying to remember what to say. One of his latest videos, I forgot what it was. It's just some bull crap. And But like Nancy Mace is just sitting here, like having everything documented, filming her little dog, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Like, we are such in such a narcissistic society, and you can say I'm a narcissistic person because I put out content. I mean, you can say that about anybody though, but I'm trying to, at this point, I mean, obviously, I post it on this channel. I don't get many views, but I do it because I'm trying to put out correct information, and if anybody does see this, they can see like, well, maybe I do make some sense. Maybe I didn't look at it from this different perspective. And it's just like, it's just annoying. These people, these politicians are just annoying. It's like they become politicians just to get popular. It's almost like it's high school again. Like, these people are supposed to be running our country, you know what I mean? Like, you got the Democrats fighting against this bill, and they keep on saying, oh, it's a tax break for the billionaires. But it's like, listen, man, they always leave out the permanent tax cuts for the working and middle class. They never put that in their post. They do that this is what I'm saying, they are deceivers. This is why it's hard to believe these people. They always say billionaire buddies, Trump's billionaire buddies, and oligarchs. They use these key words, and I'm just like, what are you talking about, man? Like, Kamala got $1.5 billion or $1.3 billion in campaign donations. Like, you all are fucking oligarchs, man. Like, what are you talking about? It's very rare for these politicians to really have grassroots, where it's just the people and not these different PACs that put money into everything. It's all about money, man, and I'm just like, I'm so tired of money. I think that we are all like fatigued with money. There's people their whole lives, there's these rich people where they basically have all the money in the world. They can do whatever they want, and they still are out here trying to make money for what? Like, more assets for what? You're good, man. Why don't you like start giving back instead of taking? You know what I mean? I don't want government to interfere in business. I want these like really wealthy people to realize what they are doing. I don't think that's gonna happen. I thought that would happen when, what happened with Luigi. I thought and I'm not for that. I think that what he did was disgusting, and I condone anybody doing that type of vigilante type of social justice, wild, wild west type of crap. I don't condone. I am against that. But you would think he's one of us. Any of us can be touched. What is the problem? Why would that happen? But no, it's just let's sweep it underneath the rug and let's just keep on plowing forward. Let's not try to help fix society. It's almost like they're trying to break society. It's almost like they want the purge to happen. They want some type of Mad Max situation. They want people just to get to the point where they are at fuck it and they don't care no more, because they have nothing left for, people like these higher up people, these rich people, which I have no problem with rich people. Like, you work hard, you should have a better standard of living. But it comes to the point where it's like you got to have some self-awareness and thinking, like, do I really need all this? Do I really need, like, you know, like, how does this look to everybody else? You know, I can hire all the security in the world, but how does my perception look to everyone? Oh, those are just bloods, so I don't care. You know, when those plebs decide to do like a French style revolution on your ass, then you'll start caring. And that's what I try to warn. It's like, we have the youth who they don't have a lot of empathy. Like, they're basically like psychopaths to some extent. Because of social isolation, lack of love that's been shown to them from their parents, the environment, and you get thrown into this situation where we're kind of like a capitalist, kind of a socialist. It's like, I'm for some social stuff, but it's like, why are so many people, like, when our government blatantly funds illegals to be here, it's like, when you catch these people, dude, it's a lot cheaper to go to another country like Mexico and be like, hey, listen, we're going to pay for you to house these people because it's cheaper for you to house them here than it is up here in America. But they wanted to give them free hotels, like debit cards with like $10,000 or some instances. It's like, dude, that's a slap in my motherfucking face, man. We're out here grinding away. Some people are working 2, 3, 4 jobs. They're in this gig economy where they don't have any type of benefits, where they don't, maybe they're doing this. You don't get health insurance from this. You don't get sick days from doing this. You don't get what is it? Holiday pay. Like, people are basically feeling like they have to work every day. Doing Uber, doing Uber Eats. I can't believe Uber Eats is a thing, to be honest. At this, I can't believe people can afford that. I understood it back in, like, you know, when the lockdowns and all, but like right now in this economy, that's, people have the money to do that. That's great. What that tells me is their parents that are basically funding it. There's a lot of people that don't live in reality, man. I'm on the ground, dude. Like, there's not much more real than the life I'm living. You know? It's like, I go to work, I pay my bills. I feel like I try to budget, I try to do the right things. You know? And I think a lot of people, most people do, but I think a lot of people have decided that they've had to take out credit card debt, and I was included in that, to fucking get by, dude. And it's like, how am I being looked at the same, like, why is the government, like, they can just print whatever they want, you know what I mean? Like, I can't, if I was to live my life like the government runs, if I was to run my budget how they run their budget, I would have been bankrupt a long time ago. And at this point, the way that they've ran it, they're like, I'm gonna be honest. There's nothing that they can do. you can do your own research. You know, I'm probably a minority in my thought process, but when I look down the road, when I look at patterns, and dude, maybe a Hail Mary happens. Maybe we can come up with $137 trillion. I don't know. When I look at 37 trillion, when I look at 100 trillion of future liabilities, we can't tax our way out of that. If we decided to raise the taxes and on the interest rate and try to be responsible all of a sudden, that would destroy our economy. That would we would put into us in an instant depression. People wouldn't be able to go out and do stuff. Like, they won't be able to go do stuff right now that much, but like, they won't have to make the hardest choices. For me, I have to go without health insurance right now. Well, other people, they would have to be thinking about going a couple days without eating. You know, maybe not having power. Maybe not even having a roof over their head. If you work a job and you're working 40 hours, I don't care what you do, you should have a roof over your head, and you should be able to afford basic things that, it's not entitlements, it's just like, we are supposed to be the richest country in the world. You work 40 hours, I don't care if you're digging ditches, if you are slinging fast food, or, you know, you should be able to, if you work for a company, then, unless you work for yourself, if you work for yourself in your own business, it is one thing, but if you work for somebody else, man, if they can't pay you enough for to have a livable life, a livable wage where you're at, they shouldn't be in business. I think there's so many people that probably shouldn't be in business. You can look at the farmers. You know, maybe somebody else should be running their farm for them, because they don't know how to crunch numbers. They know how to like grow corn, and they know how to do all that, but they know how to fix their tractors and stuff like that. But maybe they don't know how to balance their books. Maybe they don't know how to leverage debt. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just financial, like, to run your own business, you have to have there's so many different factors of different things that you have to have general intelligence in. I'm not a business owner, okay? I don't want the responsibility right now. Maybe in the future I might, but right now I don't. I feel like I've already ran a business. I feel like just living is running a business. That's what I feel like. When I raised my kids on my own, basically, dude, I felt like I was doing like a ton of work. I felt like I was working 80, 90 hours a week. I felt like I was working 5 jobs. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are running businesses that probably shouldn't be running businesses. And I think that there's this push from social media that everyone needs to become an entrepreneur. Well, maybe not everybody needs to become an entrepreneur. Maybe you're fine being a worker. I'm fine being a worker. I'm fine somebody being my boss. I don't care, as long as I'm taken care of, like what I'm looking for basically as a worker. Let me, like, pay me enough so I can have the basics. I work 40 hours, I should be able to have a roof over my head, I should be able to have enough money for food, I should be able to have health insurance, affordable health insurance, I shouldn't have no deductible, I shouldn't have no co-pays. You know, the extras, holiday pay, that's cool. I don't think that's asking for too much. I really don't think that's asking for too much. And I should be able to have a little bit left over where I can save for the future, save for a rainy day. If you can't cut it, then you shouldn't be in business. It's not easy. It's not easy running a business. But if you can't take care of your employees, then how do you expect to put out good product? You know, why are people gonna want to do the same thing every day when you're just basically a rented employee that, you know, you're replaceable? Like, there's no loyalty either way. Like, I don't understand why these companies think that I should be loyal when they're not. You know, like, I was thinking to myself, I probably said this on a video before, but like, when I go for a job interview, they got a problem because of my vast experience in different places I've worked. And I try to stay at each place for like a year. And they want to look at that as a negative because I might not want to stay there longer than a year or two, whatever. But why wouldn't I? You know, and let me look at your turnover. What is your turnover? How many people for this position have left? Why would they leave? You know, have you tried to fire people? Because like, it's always like, it needs to be more of a worker-friendly environment, so we can compete instead of feeling like we're trapped at the jobs where they feel like they have to compete for our labor. Like, I'm doing shit I don't want to do, okay? So pay me right. Take care of me. You take care of me, I'm gonna take care of you. You take care of me, you're gonna make sure I'm taken care of. I'm gonna wanna be able to come. I'm gonna wanna come to work. My attitude is gonna be a lot different. And if your attitude is like, you're working a regular job like me, you think you're gonna get rich, no, you're not gonna get rich, but at least like, have a decent life. I wanna be able to, you know, back in the old days, you could go on vacation. Something to look forward to. What do I have to look forward to? Going to work. So when I'm at work, I look forward to being at home. I don't look forward to going to work, but that's it though. The only thing I have to look forward to is my days off at this point. And then on my days off, it's just, can't afford to do much anyway. I mean, I can, but I want to be responsible. And things just don't feel as fun as they used to. Maybe it's because of my age, but things just don't feel as exciting and as fun as they used to. And I think that has something to do with the extreme amount of dopamine rushes, constant dopamine hits. Yeah, back in the old days, you had to work hard for that dopamine hit, but everything is just so readily handed to you with your cell phone. And I think it has rewired us. And it's not just the youth, it's everybody. The youth are more prone to because they've been raised in that environment the whole time, but everyone has this problem. You know, like, we should have like dopamine like detox centers. I know it sounds weird, but this is going to become but it will happen in the future where people are going to create these dopamine retreats where you just go and you get away from everything. And the point is to face some of your actual trauma. Like, dude, nobody can face any fucking trauma. How do we face trauma? Lift up the rug, sweep it underneath, keep moving forward. We ain't solving nothing. And we wonder why people are all fucked up. You know how much trauma people have been. And yes, people have always had trauma. Of course. But the lack at least they had community. The lack of isolation from other humans is never been like this before. This is completely unnatural, completely new, and I'm a fucking introvert. I'm an introvert calling this out. I'm fine not having much human interaction, having minimal interaction. And I also think if I was, the fuck? I also think if I was raised in a different environment, I probably would be a completely different person. Maybe I would be more alpha. Maybe I would be more disciplined. Maybe I would be more outgoing. Maybe when I did see people, instead of thinking like, how can I avoid this interaction with this person, I would be like excited to see them. I don't hate humans. I like humans. I like having humans around. There's that fake videos of the back doors or whatever on TikTok where it would have people drop down into these different dimensions where there was no other people. It would just be like, it looked like an empty space where it looks like it was going forever. You have other ones where they were just like going through like an empty mall. There's no other humans, and it's so weird. And last night at my work, so I work nights, and I work with another person, but when I walk through the plant, doing things, it's usually by myself. I don't see other humans at night. And I'm just like having that, last night usually I just walk around in my own world, I'm thinking about other things, but last night I was like so in tune with like, this is creepy, man. If this was the world and there's no other humans, this would be creepy as hell. It almost kind of put me into like a Twilight Zone type of film. I have a wild imagination, and I can put myself in different scenarios, and my imagination is so vivid. Like, I freak myself out for no reason. Because I still have like a childlike imagination. For instance, I was kind of freaking myself out thinking, like a creature was somewhere stirring around. Like, as soon as I turn around, it's like right there, like kind of like a video game. Maybe it's that stuff, really. You know what I mean? Just like it was weird, just a weird feeling. I know I'm a weird person, so it is what it is. But I think it's really important for people to try to be as independent as possible and try to have self-responsibility going forward. Because what I see out of the left, how they want more socialism, they want all of us, and I understand we will get to a point where we probably will need some type of UBI. I don't think we're there yet. I think that welfare is some type of UBI. But what I think is we can have good jobs that help build the future, so we, instead of having illegals here that work for like nothing, for slave wages, who are basically indentured servants who not only work for slave wages, but they have to pay the people that brought them here in indentured servitude. Not 7 years like it was, but like money. They owe them money. They owe them debt. It's just debt. We have jobs here where people where we can bring back jobs and take people off of the welfare because we can't really afford it. I mean, the system's gonna collapse. We can't keep printing money. We have to keep printing money at this point, but we can slow the fucker down. We're gonna have hyperinflation one day, or we're gonna default on our debt. One of the two is gonna happen. However, we can either speed up the process, what the Democrats want to do, or we can slow it down and then try to fucking figure it out. By the time a catastrophe happens, we can pivot to something else. I don't know what the hell that is. Whether that's cryptocurrency or, you know, the government decides to get rid of the Fed and just like come out with its own currency that's actually backed by gold or Bitcoin or something. You can't just print it out. You can't just print money out. They put us in this position. At some point, if you're on welfare, you can't. I was on welfare before, okay. I had kids I couldn't afford. And I was on it for a few years. I lived in Section 8. We had food stamps. I was married. The whole time I worked. So they went, the Section 8, I had to pay rent based off of what I made. So I wasn't getting free housing. Like it was partially paid for. And the food stamps, when I made more money, when I got raises, they got less and less. And eventually I decided to get my act together, get my GED at 25. It took me a little bit longer, yeah. That's kind of like why I relate to Gen Z a little bit. The failure to launch type of deal. Lack of a strong father figure in my life. My dad's a good dad. He lived far away. The guy lived like thousands of miles away, and it wasn't his fault. We moved away. But it's like eventually got my GED, got a decent job, and got myself off of welfare. And the reason why I bring that up is because I always had the fear that it could be shut off at any time. And in fact, I had a friend who was on welfare, and I remember when they told me, it was like, I don't know, probably like, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, somewhere around 10 years ago, where there was like this month where people were afraid that they weren't going to get their benefits for that month. At some point, our government is not going to be able to pay for all these benefits. They're not gonna, what people have to understand is when these future liabilities come to fruition, which future liabilities are basically Medicaid and Medicare and stuff like that, owed to me, owed to the boomers, owed to anybody who's working that has to file a W-2 or whatever, that's promised these benefits in the future as an old person. When these boomers, decide to get in there and start getting their benefits, you might see our budget, what it is right now is $7 trillion a year. That's how much we have to pay. That's how much our bills are. That's how much America's bills are. $7 trillion a year. You might see our budget go from $7 trillion to 8 to 9, possibly 10. Well, currently, we only bring in 4.5 trillion, somewhere around these. These are rough estimates. These are such huge numbers. 4.5 trillion to pay for our bills. You see there's a problem there? If we was to live our life like that, what would happen? How long could we sustain our life living like that? Basically off a credit card. And unless we start bringing in more money, maybe we can bring in like 6 trillion. But it's, unless we do some cutting somewhere, which most of the cutting would be welfare. And listen, these countries are getting pissed off at us, okay? When they invest in us and we inflate our currency, like when they buy bonds or whatever, we're devaluing their investment, giving them the big fuck you. At some point, they're gonna be like, we're going to attack you. So we kind of want to have a strong military to be able to like, but we need to be responsible, man. We need to be responsible, and we haven't been responsible. We can't have waste. We can't have government. We need to start cutting. We need to get people off of welfare, get them into regular jobs. What I think can save us, which I hope does, is we use capitalism hard. Just go to capitalism really hard. Capitalism, to me, the best type of capitalism is a ton of small businesses. Because if one business fails, another business will be, you know, they're still producing. Maybe there'll be less stuff on the shelf, but like, if it's better than like one huge monopoly failing and then there's nothing. And it takes time to build up another business or people to buy assets or whatever. So like you might see stuff go on the this is just hypothetical, but I think it's best to have a bunch of small companies that can pivot really quickly. Like monopolies are so slow to pivot to different political and whatever. It's just such a but a small company can like pivot, like, okay, maybe I'm producing this and nobody's selling me because like this is what happened in the economy. So maybe instead of like producing this widget, like we're gonna start mowing lawns. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna do something different. We can pivot. When you're a huge monopoly and you're an established company and you're selling, like you get this huge brand, like Wendy's or something, or like I don't know, Johnson and Johnson. Like you're not going. All people need shampoo. But you know what I'm trying to say with that is if for whatever reason, hypothetically, no one wanted shampoo no more, you're gonna want to pivot to something, and it takes a lot longer for these. They can throw money at it, but it just the smaller companies can pivot to something else so much quicker. But I think that we need to use capitalism hardcore to push innovation for technology to save us. We are going to need AI to save us, whether people like that or not. Unless you can sustain yourself somewhere, unless you can go and live a farm, go live like the Amish people. If you want to live in this type of society, what we're at, like you know, these big societies where we're at, going forward without massive calamity, we are going to need AI to save us. We are going to need to replace human labor with robotic labor. Okay? People aren't having as much kids. We need to get to a point where we don't have to worry about money no more. Money is such a thing that we needed, but we need to get to a point of an age of abundance and a responsible abundance. So you're not just going out here wasting stuff. You know, like and like I said, we can do different things. Like we need more like library type of places where they need a tool, you go check out a tool and go use it, and then you put it back. Like we don't need these big huge houses, we don't need these big, like, so we just throw crap in there. It just sits in our closets, just sits in our basements, just sits in our attics. We don't need this anymore. We need abundance. We have abundance right now, but you need human labor to. So basically, what I'm saying, I know this sounds weird for everybody, but like I get a tool, I got my name on it, and then maybe it gets broken and I bring it back. Well, the robot orders a new one, whatever, and then maybe I'm dinged somehow, the social credit score, whatever. I take a hit somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I can only watch so much content that day. Maybe I can, or for a week, or I can only receive so many likes or give so many likes. Like there can be some type of punishment. Like I know it sounds weird, but look how many people are in the Matrix already. This is the Matrix. What you're watching me on is I'm coming to you through the Matrix. This is the Matrix. And if you don't want to, be a part of the Matrix, I suggest you learn how to be self-sufficient as much as possible. But I think that we should have communities for people that want to do that. We need to have, and this is what I don't see being set up by any rich people on both sides. It's so crazy to me that these leftists, these people have money, but they're not setting up these communes where people you can practice your communism there. Everyone chips in. Why don't they doing this? Why aren't the people on the right setting up like these communities for more Christian-based communities where you want people? Like none of them are doing this. And this is why I think, for me, I think it's best for us to stop being so randomly everywhere, and we need to be around people who are more like-minded. Like for me, the town I'm in right now, I feel pretty safe. I feel, you know what I feel like? I feel the town I'm in, unless something really crazy happens, I feel like I could be here for the rest of my life. I haven't felt like that in a long time. I feel like, I felt like the last 10 years, I feel like I've always been in transition and wondering where I gotta go, where should I go, where am I planning to get out of here next? That's how I have felt personally. I've moved around a lot. Maybe this community doesn't accept me, but I feel like there's a lot of like-minded individuals here, and I can have my guard down. When I'm going to all these different cities and these people, these random people, these strangers, sure, most of the people are strangers here, but I know they pretty much have the same type of politeness, okay? The same type of morals I do. I can just tell. They're more courteous. This is the type of people I want to be around. We need to be around like-minded people. We need to organize society. Listen, if you're a certain religion, go be around, like, have your place. I don't have a problem with like there being that Muslim compound that's being developed in Texas. Like there's this huge thing that the people have a problem. They should have their own place. I know this is mostly a Christian country. I think this should be a Christian country, but like, let these people, like Mormons, like Utah. When I was growing up, I was always thought like, basically in Utah, they're all Mormons. Like, we need to have our own places. Like, if you are LGBT, you should have your own place. Obviously, you're probably not gonna have kids. And then there's LGBT people who are more conservative, who maybe like they can raise a family. Well, there's the LGBT people who are crazy, who are just like having these parades where they're out here naked and like that, and they're so debaucherous. They should have their own community. You know what I mean? Like, we can't, if we're just randomly gonna be out like amongst each other, how we've done, like, it causes more tension. It causes less trust. And this is what I'm saying with like, it feels like there's no community because we're all just like mixed up like randomly. Like, when I'm walking out of this town, I'm thinking to myself, these people have the same, maybe I'm probably pretty progressive, you know, compared to the average person where I'm at, but we still have some of this like similar morals, like decorum, like how we conduct ourselves. And that's what I'm saying. And I've said this in different videos. And it's a radical idea. It is. And it's an unpopular idea. But I think that we need to be separated. I just do. I just feel like, listen, if you want, like, all these, I hear people talking about the socialist New York mayor that he's about to be elected. And I think to myself, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. Let him try it. I don't live in New York. I don't have any plans to even visit New York. I don't have any desire. I wanted to when they were kind of like normal, you know, back in the 90s. Yeah, I wanted to visit all these different places. But these radical ideas, you know, I wouldn't want to go visit one of these places like California and then being like, no, you have to pay us an income tax just because I visited. Like, I'm not saying that like that hasn't even been floated out there, but something that absurd can be floated out there. And then what happens if they try to implement that on me? I know that's crazy, but I mean, is it that crazy considering what we've seen so far out of these people? But I don't care. Like, if you want to destroy that place, I don't care. Guess what will happen? If socialism doesn't work there, it doesn't work. Then it fails, and these people can shut up. Maybe it does work. Hey, okay, cool. Let them try it out. That's what people want. That's what they want. And I also think too that these same people that are voting for it, if they want to come to where I live, they shouldn't be able to vote here for like 4 years. I know it sounds weird, but hey, you come from a place like that, you want to come here and then just like vote your same policies here. You haven't learned there. You voted in crap. It's destroyed your community, and it's made it suck for you so bad that you wanted to move from there. But you want to come to where I live and vote for that crap here and bring that crap here. Why? So you can just destroy where I live and then just like move somewhere else again? No. Maybe that's unconstitutional. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't think our Constitution is working anymore. I don't think our government is working anymore. I think it needs to be severely reformed at this point. To what extent? I think that we can keep some good things. For me, I like the idea of keeping the Senate, keeping the president, the executive. We can keep Congress, but I think that we need our fourth branch, and the fourth branch would be us directly voting on everything. And I think that pretty much we don't need Congress anymore. And that is completely, um, I've heard such negative things about direct democracy because, like, well, people are ignorant. Well, listen, here's the thing. You don't have to vote on everything, okay? And you can run it through AI to figure shit out too. If you don't understand something, run it through AI. I do it all the time. Maybe it's not 100% correct, but it's getting pretty good and it's getting better. And when I hear these people on the internet, like they're complaining, the AI, and I'm telling them that Hollywood's finished, video game design's finished in the future, and then they're like, oh, it's horrible, and I'm just like, I look at AI like 2 years ago compared to what it is now, and you think it is just gonna, like, it's just done evolving, like how fast it's got to where it's at, and these people automatically think like AI is just gonna sit there, what it is now, forever, like it's not gonna evolve at all, get any better. It's bad. I don't know if these people are bots. They have, they can't think at all, like when it comes to progression. I don't know. This video is almost an hour long, but I definitely have radical ideas, and maybe they won't work. But you know what could happen? Somebody could take one of my ideas and make it better. Hey, this doesn't work because of this. Well, guess what? This kind of does. We can take this, use this. But yeah, I think that is good direct democracy, and we can make it where it is you can make it like optional, private vote or a public vote. You can vote either way. If you want your vote to be private, it can be private. Why can't we do that? You know what I mean? But you can just make it look like to everybody else like you didn't even vote, I guess. But yeah, we should all, and the reason why is like, because I want to be able to vote on like everything, even it's like their budget, like something that they want to spend money on, some new project. Well, I want to have a say so in it. I don't think the representatives really represent us anymore. That's what I'm saying. I just don't think that they represent us. I think that they represent the big money. So I just think that they're kind of worthless. I think our government doesn't need to be completely destroyed. I just think it needs to be reformed a little bit. And that's not a little bit, that's a big thing. But the way society's going, if we continue doing what we're doing now, where you have people that are not accountable who are rich, and then you hold people like me accountable, well, at some point people will act out in an aggressive manner, which I only say these things as a warning, not because I'm gonna partake, not because I'm rooting for it or I am advocating for it, because I look at human nature and I look at history and I connect dots and I say, people aren't gonna publish shit for so long, dude. That's it.